You remember exactly when it changed? She used to text you first. Good morning messages before you even opened your eyes. Random voice notes just because she was thinking about you. Paragraphs, actual paragraphs, about her day, her thoughts, things she wanted to tell only you. And then one day, the text got shorter, one-word replies, hours between responses. And when you asked, is everything okay? She said, I'm fine, just busy. But you knew, something in your gut already knew. She wasn't busy, she was gone. Not physically, she was still there. But something inside her had quietly packed its bags and left. And the most painful part? You have no idea what you did. Or worse, you have a feeling you know exactly what you did. And you've been too afraid to say it out loud. Stay with me. Because in the next 8 minutes, I'm going to show you the 5 real reasons women lose interest. Not the surface reasons, not the ones people talk about on social media. The deep psychological ones that nobody is honest enough to admit. And whether you're dating someone right now, in a long-term relationship, or sitting with a situationship that just went cold, this video is going to feel uncomfortably familiar. And that's exactly the point. Number 1, you became a routine. Let me introduce you to Daniel. Daniel was the guy every woman wanted to know more about. Confident, busy, had his own life. When he and Maya started talking, she was hooked. He didn't reply instantly every time. He had plans, he had opinions. He was genuinely interesting. 6 months later, Maya was pulling away, and Daniel was devastated. What changed? Daniel did. The moment he felt secure, he stopped being interesting. He started texting her every hour, sharing every thought, every feeling, every plan. He became completely available, completely predictable, and completely transparent. The psychology behind why that killed her attraction is something most people never learn. The human brain is wired to pursue what it cannot fully predict. Psychologists call it variable reward. The same mechanism behind why social media is addictive. When the outcome is uncertain, the brain releases dopamine in anticipation. When the outcome becomes guaranteed, dopamine flatlines. Daniel didn't become boring because he was a bad person. He became boring because he removed all uncertainty. He handed her the entire map before she got to enjoy the journey. Playing games isn't the answer. Stay genuinely invested in your own life. Keep your hobbies, keep your friendships, keep your ambitions. A person with a full life is naturally mysterious because they're always growing into someone new. She should be curious about you, not confused. Curious, there's a difference. And this next reason, this is the one most men will scroll past because it's too uncomfortable to admit, but it's the one causing the most damage. Number 2, you made her your whole world. Marcus thought he was being the perfect partner. He canceled plans with friends to spend time with her. He reorganized his entire schedule around her availability. He checked in constantly, not out of insecurity, he told himself, but because he genuinely cared. But what she experienced on the other side was something entirely different. Pressure, invisible, suffocating pressure. Because when someone makes you their entire world, you become responsible for their happiness. And that is an exhausting weight to carry for another human being. This is what psychologists call emotional enmeshment, when one person loses their individual identity inside the relationship. And it feels like love from the inside. But from the outside, it feels like drowning. She started going quiet not because she stopped caring about Marcus, but because every time she pulled back even slightly, his anxiety filled the space immediately. A double text. Did I do something wrong? A shift in mood she had to manage. She wasn't losing interest in him. She was losing energy. The honest truth, the most attractive thing you can do in a relationship is remain a complete person outside of it. Have friendships she's not part of. Have goals that are yours alone. Love her deeply, but don't need her desperately. There is a world of difference between those two things. Number 3, you stopped pursuing. This one applies equally to men and women, but today we're talking about it from her perspective. Think about who you were when you were trying to win her over. You planned dates. You remembered small details she mentioned in passing. You showed up with effort, real, visible, thoughtful effort. You made her feel chosen, and then you got comfortable. The dates became Netflix on the couch every weekend. The compliments stopped. The effort quietly disappeared. And you told yourself, she knows I love her. I don't need to keep proving it. And what nobody tells men about women and attraction is this. Women don't just want to be won. They want to keep being chosen every single day. Not through grand gestures, not through expensive gifts, through presents, through noticing, through remembering that she mentioned her difficult meeting this week and you asked how it went. through planning something, anything, that shows you still think about her when she's not in the room. Sarah had been with James for 2 years. She loved him. But she told her best friend something that James never heard. "I just don't feel like he sees me anymore." He hadn't done anything wrong. He had just stopped doing everything right. Attraction in long-term relationships doesn't die suddenly. It bleeds out. In all the small moments where effort used to live. Now. This next reason is the one that will make some of you defensive. Because it has nothing to do with what you're doing. And everything to do with who you're being. Number 4. Your emotional unavailability is pushing her away. She tried to tell you something hurt her once, and you got defensive, or you minimized it, or you went quiet and made her feel like she'd done something wrong for bringing it up. So she tried again. Different topic, same result. And eventually, she stopped trying. Not because she stopped caring, but because she learned that bringing her emotions to you came at a cost. And she decided the cost wasn't worth it anymore. This is the single most common reason emotionally available women leave emotionally unavailable men. And it is almost always invisible to the man while it's happening. Emotional unavailability doesn't look like cruelty. It looks like changing the subject when things get deep. It looks like, "I don't want to argue about this." It looks like shutting down instead of opening up. It looks like being physically present but emotionally behind glass. The uncomfortable psychology underneath all of this. Women experience emotional connection as safety. When she can't reach you emotionally, she doesn't feel safe. And when she doesn't feel safe, she starts to detach. One day at a time, until you notice she stopped sharing things with you. And that's when it happens. The same thing that started this video. The text got shorter. She wasn't pulling away from you. She was protecting herself from the pattern of not being received. Start with 4 words. The next time she shares something emotional, instead of solving it, defending yourself, or going quiet, just say, "Tell me more about that." That's it. Watch what happens to the temperature in the relationship. Number 5, she grew and you stayed. The same. This is the hardest one to hear and the most important. People are not static. We grow, we evolve, we become new versions of ourselves through experiences, through pain, through learning. And sometimes one person in a relationship grows and the other one doesn't. Aisha had spent 2 years working on herself, reading, going to therapy, building her career, becoming more self-aware, more intentional, more clear about what she wanted from life. And Kevin, who she loved, was exactly the same person he was when they met. Same habits, same conversations, same complaints about the same things. Going nowhere, not because he was a bad person, but because he had stopped growing. She didn't fall out of love with Kevin, she outgrew him. And this is the reason most people never talk about, because it doesn't fit neatly into, he did something wrong. Sometimes nobody does anything wrong. Sometimes the most painful version of losing someone is simply, you stopped evolving together. The psychology here is rooted in self-expansion theory. The idea that humans are fundamentally driven to grow, and we are most attracted to relationships that help us do that. When a relationship stops feeling like growth, it starts feeling like a ceiling. The question to ask yourself honestly, are you the same person you were a year ago? 2 years ago? Are you reading, learning, building, becoming? Because the most attractive version of you is not a fixed destination. It's a direction. She needs to see you moving. But here's what I want to leave you with. And this might be the most important thing in this entire video. Because fixing these 5 things means nothing without this. What nobody says at the end of videos like this. Fixing these 5 things, the mystery, the neediness, the pursuit, the emotional walls, the growth, none of it works if you're doing it to keep her. It only works if you're doing it to become better. Because the painful truth about attraction is this. People feel your intentions before they understand them. If you start being more mysterious because you want her back, she'll feel the manipulation. If you start pursuing again because you're scared of losing her, she'll feel the desperation underneath it. But if you do it because you genuinely decide to become a fuller, more present, more emotionally alive version of yourself, everything changes. Not just with her. With every relationship you'll ever have. The text stopped, but that's not the end of the story, unless you decide it is. You watched this video for a reason. You already know which of these 5 hit closest to home. And that awareness, right there, is where everything changes. Don't just watch this. Do something with it. Drop a comment below. Which of the 5 reasons hit you hardest? I read every single one. And if this video made you think about someone, share it with them. Sometimes the most important conversations start with a video.